All rise. Circuit Court, Lake County is open session. The Honorable Judge Champ presiding. Proceed, come to order, please.
Thanks. All right. Good afternoon to everyone, and we are here in case 2015 CA 1693, Pozner versus Howley is what I have. Now let me find out who's present today. For the plaintiff, I usually start. Plaintiff, go ahead.
Alan Marcus on behalf of Leonard Pozner, my paralegal.
Patricio Escopiña.
Good afternoon. Okay, and then defendant?
My name is Wolfgang Howley, the defendant, and I'm a pro se, I'm not an attorney.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, the court set this for a case management conference today. We have 2 hours set aside. It is 1:30, so we have till 3:30. We may not go that long, it depends. But I wanted to make sure we had sufficient time. And so what we've done is this. The court is going to be addressing all pending motions that I can. In other words, I say that I can, that are prompted. And I've gone through the docket, if you will, and what I'm going to do is set forth the ones I believe are pending, and I'll ask each side to your knowledge if that's what's pending. All right?
Your Honor, just wanted before we start,
Yes.
I believe there's a gentleman back here in the press. I don't believe he's real press. We had this issue the last hearing. I know that he has now gone to the immediate point of contact, Jeffrey Fuller,
To my knowledge, he's over court administration regarding
Right.
the press or
To credential to at least be in the building.
news media.
Okay,
Yes.
but I don't believe it's appropriate. We weren't notified that he's here.
Just tell me, counsel, what legal requirement is there? Because to my knowledge, there's no legal requirement to give prior notice. They do have to go through court administration. This I'm aware, and I did indicate to the press that was here the last time, you follow what everyone else has to do regarding the press, and then you can proceed, because the court administration has set in place, and they network throughout the state, of course, as well, what needs to be done, how you proceed when it comes to the news media. And you know, news media, in a lot of places, in the courtroom, a lot of times. So there are certain restrictions, and as long as he's complied with whatever was required of him, the court, unless you have some legal basis, counsel, right?
Well, I have a extreme amount of issues with this gentleman. I don't
I'm saying
believe-
legal basis, tell the
legal
court
basis,
what's
I
the
don't
basis.
believe he's real press.
And how do you
I
determine
believe
that?
he's I believe, well, we can have an evidentiary hearing on it, and I believe if we had an evidentiary hearing on it, I would be able to prove that he's connected with Mr. Howley. And it's generated out of this entire case of what this case is about.
I
And
agree.
that's what,
Just a second.
and
You're
that's,
saying that it's generated, how does it relate,
Okay.
his particular company, network,
He's-
reporting, how does it directly relate to the issues, and that's what I'm going to be addressing before this court in this case.
this case is about.
I know what it's about.
Okay, and this gentleman goes around, he's not with a news agency, he's himself, and he has a website, just like Mr. Howley.
Sir,
And what they do,
let me ask you this, and I have to stop you, Counselor, because did you check with court administration, Counselor, to determine what they had considered before?
I didn't know he would be here, last time he was here,
Yes.
if you recall, he
Yes.
tried to film me outside.
Well,
Okay, but he did not try to film the hearing.
correct.
And you came before. I had no notice or knowledge that he was going to be here, this gentleman.
Right.
If it was CNN or with Miami or some reputable company, this is an individual.
But you would still not have notice, prior notice, unless you did
I'm
find
objecting,
out.
but I can object to it, just like.
On
legal
what basis?
The basis is he's not a real news agency.
I can't
And his
determine
whole
that.
purpose, what you're allowing here,
I
is
can't-
allowing the same thing, and I'll have to bring another lawsuit against this gentleman because he is not a real news agency. What he does is he comes in, he
So,
takes...
Counselor, I have to stop you. The court cannot determine that today. If you want to have some information to determine that, I would say you have to go through court administration. This court went through court administration before this hearing. The court said, now look, whatever has to be done for any court reporter, including this gentleman, is he legitimate, you have to determine that. This court is not, because the court administrator that handles these matters is the one that I look to determine whether a court reporter is from whatever agency, whether he's legitimate or she's legitimate, whether they're in the proper place in the courtroom. I would follow no different procedure.
I understand that, Your Honor, but I have a right on behalf of my client to object because I understand he has gone through the procedures that, or the minimum procedures that he has to be here as a press credential.
Right.
But now he's interjecting himself into this case by filming this hearing. I have a right, and my client has rights to object to that. I didn't have prior notice, and I know I wouldn't, that's not the procedure, but now that he's here filming, I'm now raising the objection, and I respectfully request that the court, if it needs to, have an evidentiary hearing before we can go forward.
To determine what?
To determine whether he's a real news agency or he has some other agenda here, and he's not really reporting this for purposes of newsworthiness, but he's going to take snippets, which is what they do, out of it, and they take it out of context, and they manipulate the news for their purpose, and they put it on the website to incite others. And what's happened here, there's a court case right now, this week, where a person is going to be sentenced, okay, by a court who has been found guilty of threatening my client's life that was generated out of this kind of,
All right, just a second. I have an objection. Let me hear the objection. What is the objection on the last question?
That's relevant to what we're doing here today.
I don't know if it is or not, but let me just say this. The only thing that this court can do at this point that I see would be reasonable would be for you, if you want to inquire of first the court administration to determine whether they, in fact, have determined whether he's legitimate or not. Because that's what we go through. If the court administrator indicates to you, yes, we, as any other news agency, we do whatever they do to determine legitimacy. If they indicate that they have taken those steps, I'm going to proceed. If they say, no, we didn't check, then I'll allow that opportunity for them to check, to do whatever they need to do to determine whether he is with a legitimate news agency. If he isn't, I can't deny him the ability to be in the courtroom. Now, whatever he's recording, he's standing where he's supposed to. I assume you did, sir, check with court administration.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
And court administration indicated to me that he checked. And I believe we have Mr. Jeff,
Halloween.
last name please, sir?
Fuller.
No, I'm asking the court administrator,
Jeff Fuller.
Mr. Fuller, who's with court administration. You can inquire, and I can have him come and indicate whether he's checked, and then whatever he's to do to make sure he's legitimate. That was one of the questions that the court asked.
I understand.
Yes.
I don't know whether did he represent he was going to film this hearing?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the protocol for allowing filming of a hearing?
Why don't you come forward just so we can inquire of you, just to inquire.
Your Honor, I feel a bit uncomfortable in this being on the record without counsel for me.
Yes,
Our
and I'm not
counsel.
placing you under oath.
That's true.
I'm just asking for information. The only information I'm asking you for is the information that you provide to the court regarding procedures to how these news agencies are allowed to come to court.
We have our policy for the Fifth Circuit. It's very open.
Uh-huh.
We believe in not having set hard parameters to go in,
Yes.
as long as people can conduct themselves in a professional manner, as long as they can abide by the general rules. We don't go too deep into seeing what their purpose of recording it is, because the courts in Florida are very open.
Right.
One of the things about Florida is the courts are open.
But do you find out whether they're with a news agency or not? Is that?
He
how
has
do you-
a website called WeirdChange.org.
Okay.
Where he got his credentials from.
All right.
And he does do some work on their website, and he also has his own blog, but, or video blog, I guess,
that to the extent that you normally would check for a news?
It's actually
agency?
deeper normally.
Oh.
If someone would call me and say I'm with Channel 9, I don't have to go much farther because I'm familiar with Channel 9. But if I go with an organization that I haven't heard of before, I will take a couple of steps to see, just to see generally, because if they're lying to me up front, then can we really let them into the, how can I trust that they're going to be media, or they're going to follow the rules once they get into court?
So,
Attorney, Your Honor, he's not media. And
Attorney Marcus, I can't determine that.
Okay,
Now, let me just say this, I cannot say we cannot go forward today because we have one who's claimed to be and has credentials to be a court reporter.
Well, he can sit in here and he can listen, and he doesn't have to film.
That's what anyone can do, this is a public
That's right,
court.
okay, but he doesn't have to film. And I object to him filming, we have a record, and I object to him filming. Because that way, he can't splice it and take it out of context, which is what they do. And
Well,
that's exactly what they'll do. Second of all,
I don't know that, but certainly if you know, if he is a reporter and he has a website, you certainly can follow up to see what they do, if they do that.
Your Honor, I know what they do. First of all, he's not with a news organization. His website is him. You inquired of him last time. It's himself. He goes home and he takes these films and he puts it on his own website. And the company that he claims to be,
Thank you.
the company that he claims to be with is his own company. It's nobody else. It's him. And that's exactly what our case is about Mr. Halvey, because that's what Mr. Halvey does. And this gentleman is just a cohort of Mr. Halvey, and that's why he's here.
If what you're proffering, which has no evidence yet, but proffering, were all true, that he was a news company that was himself, which he said, and there's no other person or entity, no other person with him, that still would not suffice to say that he's not allowed to be in it as a news reporter. I can't just rely on that and say, he's not a news reporter, I'm not going to let him film. I could not rely on
So
that.
anybody then can walk in here.
Anyone who
and
goes
say, "I'm
to
a
court
news reporter."
administration, sir, I'm telling you again, anyone who goes to the 5th District Court Administration to come into court as a news reporter, and the court administration allows them to come in and say they complied with whatever they require of them, yes, the answer is yes, sir.
They can be credentialed, that's fine. My objection is in filming.
And that's part of whatever they do as far as court reporting.
No, that's not true, Your Honor.
That's part of what the
Your Honor,
court
I
administration
object-
allows them to do.
I object vigorously.
Overruled. It's
All
overruled.
right, Your Honor, I'm going to take it up.
You do whatever you believe you need to do,
I will.
Counselor. Please do that, and we're going forward at
And
this
I would
time.
like I would like you to order a copy of whatever this man films to be turned over to us immediately within 24 hours.
And what's the basis of that?
Because we're entitled to a copy of whatever he's in this procedure, and we want to protect ourselves as far as this gentleman who claims to be press, which you're saying he is press, and you're finding him to be press.
Based on the court administration office, yes.
Okay?
Now, let me just say this. Normal procedures for getting a copy of a court reporter's filming, there is a procedure that you can go through, I'm
He's
sure.
not a corporal.
Well, I'm not saying court reporter, I said a reporter. He's a reporter, he's with the news media, his news media. There's a way of getting copies of whatever they record, I'm pretty sure of that. Is there a way that he can get a copy of your recording?
Yeah, this will be online within 24 hours for everyone because it's an open.
The entire recording?
Yeah,
And so if you want a copy of whatever you're going to produce online, is there a way for him to get a copy?
yeah. There's plenty of programs that you can use to. It's called rip video from someone, and you
My
can
question, sir,
reproduce
is
that.
there a way that he can go through your company to get a copy of what you're recording today?
We don't really have that type of system set up, but I could make that happen for him if we really need to.
Provide a copy for the attorney Marcus, and he will give you his information, that
And he put
is
his information on the record.
telephone number and address, however he needs to get that to you. And the name of your company and your website again, for the record is?
We Are Change Orlando. The website's wearechange.org.
Okay.
And his name?
And your name, sir?
My name is Justin Harvey.
All right, very well. All right, let's proceed then. At this time, we're going to address,
Can I just get his phone number and address?
you can do that certainly after this
I will lay it
proceeding.
on the record.
What is the telephone number, sir?
To my home,
No, whatever the number you use for your website.
The website is internet-based. There's no physical address, so there's no, so I don't want to give him my cell phone number or my home address.
All right, so you have given him, through the website, he's able to get.
You can contact me or anyone else with the company through the website.
Very well.
Your Honor, any news organization has a phone number. This proves the point. I would like a phone number to call this company.
He says he doesn't have a telephone number.
He says he has a cell number.
Well,
I
that's.
would like to have a cell number.
Do you use that for your, just a minute, do you use that for your business as well?
I don't use that phone for anything but my personal stuff. I don't operate. There's plenty of online publications. They don't have physical addresses. I mean, this is.
I didn't ask for a physical address. I asked for a telephone number for the business. Do you have one?
No, I have a personal cell phone. That's it.
Are you willing to give him your cell number after this particular proceeding?
I really don't feel comfortable giving him much of anything else than the information we've stated.
As far as the company now, you would give him some way of getting a copy of this, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And so what you've given him is just the website?
Correct.
And there's no telephone number that he can utilize to get?
No, but you could contact me through a Facebook page, through the website.
That's the only two ways he can contact you?
In any other case, I honestly would feel fine giving this out, but this gentleman is not really someone that I feel comfortable giving my telephone number
Well, you're
to.
here, sir, to report in this public proceeding.
I understand.
You are a news reporter. You indicated that.
Correct.
And so it's not unreasonable to ask for a telephone number. It is not unusual when you have a news reporter with a news company that's going to record in court. It's not unusual to have some way of contacting them through other than Facebook.
What about an email address?
You can give them that.
Let's do that. My email address is,
What is the email address?
it's jharvey, JHARVEY, at Knights, like UCF Knights, .ucf.edu.
And that's a valid email address
Yes.
for the company.
I still want a phone number.
All right.
Any media outlet has a phone number.
I don't have a phone number for you. We're going to proceed at this time.